All right, everyone, I am back. This is Q&Andy. Mike, you hosted a show.
We survived.
You got through like
horrible
10 minutes. Look at you guys.
I think it was a solid 13 minutes.
Was it 13?
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
I don't know. I was just more nervous about mispronouncing names.
Oh God. Yeah. Welcome to my life. And no matter how you pronounce it, there will be a comment.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Every single time.
And that doesn't mean we got it right.
Yeah.
It just means that you've probably
I think I see comments
names too.
They're like, it's producer Mike. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. You know my theory. I've said it before on this. As soon as I go to Paris and they say Roddick and not Roddick, then we're good.
Roddick sounds cooler than Roddick.
Way cooler.
Way fucking cooler.
That's not the point. Anyways,
just a reminder, everybody.
Yeah, go ahead. Easy segue. Go
if you want to be
Mike.
featured in the show, send your questions to Ask Andy at servepodcast.com or head to our website at servepodcast.com. Andy, we had the team pull some questions that follow your path through tennis, the early days when things got serious and all the things fans were always curious about but don't usually get to hear.
Always curious about.
I don't know. That's what Ella wrote.
That sounds good.
Good job, Ella. But before we dive into that, I do want to ask you about something topical. I want to know, what do you make of recent comments from a coach saying that Carlos Alcaraz is bored?
I need more context.
Okay. All right. So a coach took to Instagram and he put out a video and he said, "My feeling is that Alcaraz is bored." This came after obviously losing to Seb Korda here at Miami Open. "The guy has already 7 Grand Slams, and I feel like playing Masters 1000s, he won so many already. He's not that interested. That's really the feeling that I have." Going on to say, he doesn't play well because he's bored, with an exclamation point. "He has so much margin. When the match is too easy, he's losing his focus because deep inside, he knows he can break back anytime." So he's bored because he's too good.
So I don't want to know who said it, just because I don't want to react.
Yeah, that's why
I want to react to the content and not whoever. By the way, also I'm sure that there was no disrespect to Seb Korda with that analysis.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, or any other player that ever beats Carlos Alcaraz.
No
disrespect to Medvedev.
None.
Yeah, because you're bored when you're playing a former #1 and Grand Slam champ or on a fast court playing Seb Korda. No disrespect to the field at all.
No.
That's something that you can't. I would say that's really hard. That's a really hard opinion to commit to unless you actually know something. I kind of think it's borderline disrespectful to tennis earth and players and someone who's 9 in the world who beats Alcaraz. Or I mean, if I'm Medvedev and I see that, I'm like I might get CTE from my eye roll. Like honestly, like it's. I don't know. Next question. That's to me. That's ridiculous, and to me that feels like, without knowing, it feels like it's thirsty for clicks.
All right. So first question is from Will. Those first times you ever played, who was it with? Was it initially just a nice weekday escape from school? When did it start to turn more serious?
Well, I first started. There was a club in Nebraska up the street before my family moved to Texas. That was more like babysitting. Like I remember throwing balls at like a Snoopy cutout. I don't know that counts. I had a brother that played and was a very good player, good junior player, good college player. And so I would just hit on the backboard at Caswell Tennis Center like all day, every day. And then I started taking lessons from Steve Jones. And I just lived at the public tennis center at Caswell. And so then 2 years later, like the 9-year-old version of myself would just stay there all day and play cash games.
Was that like in the summer, like, or after school? You just ride over there.
She'd drop me off at 8 in the morning and pick me up at 6 p.m. and I was just on call. You'd get calls to the pro shop, and some guy who was like a good club player would be like, "Is Andy around?" All right. And so the people would either, like, if I went and hit with them for an hour, they would either tip me $10 or we'd play like cash games.
That's cool.
And so my mom would give me,
explain a cash game.
We would bet money on games.
But how would it work? Would you like lay it down at the beginning? Would it be
no?
rolling?
I'm playing like adults and like college students. So at 9, it was like, but yeah, I mean, you had the same group of guys, and but my goal was like, this is probably, I'm gonna get in trouble some way, shape, or form for saying this, but your mom gives you like food money.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll see you later. And so I would just stay at the tennis center all day. But I knew that if I started the day with, let's call it like $10, I'm like, my bets are covered.
Yeah.
Like this
what's up.
So any money won is plus 10.
Yeah.
Right. And then you'd get people who would like somehow, I'll bring you a sandwich or something. Like it was fantastic. But that's kind of like where the the hardcore turn took. Whereas
When
like
you were 9 years old.
yeah, I'd be playing cash games in the summer, and then I'd go to like some like 10 and under tournament, and I'd be like, this is easy.
You're like, what is this?
I just played a guy with a beard on Thursday.
What was the first legit check you got?
Check?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't get money for anything. Yeah, I mean, it was probably. Oh, I remember exactly what it was. I was a wild card. I took a wild card into Delray Beach, and I knew that I was going to turn pro. So before NIL, like once you accepted money past expenses. So the way that it works, if someone who's not a pro, who's an amateur, plays in a pro event, they can take enough money to cover their expenses. So you're not out of pocket for playing it. But if you're not a professional and you take money past your expenses, that's considered professional. So then you give up your college eligibility. So you can't really be there at 16 and saying like, I won X amount. And so you'd have people like trading receipt stubs and like trying to, because you had to like provide receipts for your expenses. So there was that whole game of trying to like max out expenses, which you could do.
Yeah.
Not that I did, but
No,
this guy I know.
Yeah, this guy you know.
I won $3,200 at Delray, the tour event. I lost first round to Lawrence Thielman, and I put a sound system in my car like a fucking idiot. It was like 2 weeks later.
JBLs?
Oh yeah, pull into the high school parking lot. I'm like,
With the removable faceplate, so people wouldn't steal your radio.
as JW would say, total douche canoe.
Yeah,
But
people
yeah,
just
that was
have
my
no idea what
first
we're
one.
talking about.
But then a month later, I signed my first 5-year Reebok deal.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was a good one. There was no sound system that cost that much.
Next up is from Jordan. He said, how well did you sleep before big matches, and how did sleep affect your performance? Any hacks you used for sleeping?
I slept pretty well. I would use sleeping aids. Like if I had to travel and sleep overnight, I was terrible at sleeping on planes. So yeah, I would use what I could. It was weird. If I was nervous about a match, I don't know that it really affected my sleep. I would have like random nights where like before a first round, and I've said on this show before, I was more nervous if I was like unprepared. Like going into Wimbledon in 2008, I had a disaster result, but I was battling like a shoulder issue. I wasn't in great shape. I hadn't gotten any reps. So that caused me more stress than like if I was actually prepared going in. So it wasn't about like the consequence or the magnitude of a given match. It was like where I thought I was as far as my game. And if I was stressed about that, then that normally manifested in not sleeping well. I remember one year, for whatever reason, it was like a total outlier. It was before I played Guillermo Coria, and it was Wimbledon in 2005. And I knock on my coach's door, Dean Goldfein, at 5 a.m. And he's like, what is happening? I go, I haven't slept all night. I was just up. I don't know what the deal was. I'm sure everyone's gone through it. But I forgot, I'll get the details wrong, but I think I was like second on. And so I go, the only reason I'm telling you this is because I'm going to adjust. I'm going to sleep as long as I can. And we're going to completely renegotiate our normal routine, right? So if I was going on at 3, I was like, I'm going to hit balls for 15 minutes at 1 o'clock, but don't wake me at 8 a.m., right? If I can catch a run of 5 or 6 hours. And so that's like what we did.
That's crazy.
And so it's certainly imperfect, but was able to get through that in 3 sets.
Would you ever nap before, like go out early and then nap before? Or you guys would back time from when you're supposed to maybe be on?
I wasn't great at it.
Yeah.
I wasn't great at it.
Who was like a guy that you would just look over in the corner of the locker room and have a towel over his head, just like out an hour before?
I felt like everyone was able to nap except for me.
Really?
In Dubai one year, I went from I use this example all the time, but I went from Memphis to Dubai, lost on a Friday night in Memphis, and then had to play, Monday or Tuesday in Dubai. So by the time you land, it's 2 a.m. I had to play like that night. And I remember Dougie Spreen, my old trainer, I was asleep on the floor underneath a table in the players' lounge, like just out. And he went and like kind of just kicked me. It was like, you got to go.
You're on.
Yeah. I actually think I played Ferrero first round. Ended up winning that week. So maybe that was the moral.
Yeah, maybe that was the secret.
Yeah, beating Nadal and Djokovic back to back.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
There's the hack. Sleep under a table before you go on.
It's actually great if you don't get any sleep. That's the hack. Yeah. Lesson learned. You're welcome.
Next up is from Juan. He said at the coin toss, serve or receive, and why?
99% of the time I would serve. The only difference is if it was like a 1 o'clock match and if someone chose side, then I would rather have my first service game not dealing with like looking directly into the sun. Like I remember Miami, it's probably not the case now because the stadium's different. But the old stadium at 1 o'clock, like it was you toss it up and you are in the sun, you can't see the ball.
That was in Key Biscayne.
Key Biscayne. So you would have to like low toss, side toss. You would have to kind of adjust it. And then that affects the first ball too. So if you look up into the sun and you hit a serve and you come down, you're still like, you're seeing sunspots. So the first ball is a little bit blurry also. So that was one factor. Most of the time I would always serve. I liked coming out of the gates hot. Unless I was playing like an Isner or a Karlovic or like one of these big body guys, one of these serve bots, I would hope that they would miss a couple first serves because they weren't quite warm. And I wasn't too worried about actually holding serve, or I wasn't worried about holding one more time. Because if you receive, then obviously you have to hold one more time, which against, a Hewitt or a great returner mattered. So most of the time serve. Some exceptions.
This is Tony's question that kind of stays in the serve realm. It says, are you left or right eye dominant? And then goes on to ask, also during your serve motion, can you actually see the service box and or the opponent, or are you only focused on hitting the ball?
How do you know that?
I think you like close your eye and focus on something, and if it doesn't move.
I'm left eye dominant then.
Okay.
Yeah, should we just do this for the rest of the episode?
How do we?
Everyone at home, unless you're driving. Left eye dominant. I was too busy freaking out about the fact that I was going to get that wrong. What was the rest of the question?
During your serve, could you actually see the service box and or the opponent, or were you only focused on hitting the ball?
No, you can't look at the service box. You take a look before you serve.
Like right before you go?
No. I mean, the only person that I wonder if that's a realistic question, because he would kind of keep his eyes on you. He wasn't looking at you when he served. You can't do that. But he would keep his eyes on you a really long time was Fed. Mm-hmm. He kind of would side eye you and then kind of flip.
And then find the ball.
Correct. You'd look at them, they'd have to give away their positioning because I served quick. Like once I was ready to go, it was off my racket. Sorry. It was off my racket. So it wasn't as if someone could be up in the box and then go 10 feet back before I served. Yeah, so I wasn't like, once they were positioned, they had to kind of almost stay there. There was no drift involved because my toss was so quick and short. So there wasn't really, nothing was going to change, so my focus was on the serve only.
So you would kind of gauge them, and then as you went into your motion, you knew exactly where you were.
Obviously, you look up and you see if they're standing a foot to the left, a foot to the right, if they're up, if they're back. But that's like a quick glance. You kind of do all that and decide if you're going to, when you're walking up to the serve or in between points, you know where you're going to serve. Mm-hmm. And then you get up there and take a look. And then if there's an audible, it happens quick and you go because you don't want them to be able to adjust off of your audible.
Next up is from Herman, sticking with the serve. Was your serve more about mechanics, sequencing, or mindset? What did people misunderstand the most about it?
Mindset, I don't know. Mindset is kind of from what you're able to do. Like I go serve now and I have the same mindset where I want to go through someone. I just can't go through someone. So it's like a problem. So I actually have to play like I found myself, I played two days in Brazil this weekend. And even playing doubles, like my serve's just not the same. I don't serve at all anymore. So like I don't have the options, but I still, when I get up there, all I want to do is hit it through someone. Like I still just want to hit aces and I can't. And so now I'm like, I find myself like at the second day, I'm going, okay, well maybe I just make the first serve here and like start like so mindset I think is directly dependent on what you're able to do. Yeah. Like my mindset was like, my best chance to win this point is with my serve, right? Either directly or because of a foul ball return. So mindset, I think, depends on all the other stuff. For me, it was how you get to the top part. As long as your elbow had space, as long as you were able to kind of get mobility with your trunk and able to launch with legs, then it was just a matter of being able to do it every time, like the same pacing. And you wanted to be able to have the same pacing and not have outlier movements to hit to different spots. The best servers of all time can hit all the spots without you knowing where they're going until the last possible second.
So it's kind of a mixture of all three, right? It's like knowing the mechanics that work best for you, and then having the sequence to get those mechanics to work, and then that dictates your mindset. I will say, like to any coaches listening or any players listening, like the thing that drives me crazy, serving is the most personal shot, I think, right? Not everyone serves the same. Someone steps up, someone is back. It's more about feeling. Even when I work with pro players, I'll suggest something and I go, but you have to be so honest with how you feel. Because a player will know, like, that does not work for me. I can't have someone who's been bringing their foot up platform and they're like, that's the word. And then if you make a suggestion, they're like, oh, okay, that wasn't terrible. It's like, okay, well, let's follow that path, right? It's not just because I coach serving this way, because I did it this way. You constantly have to ask someone when you're working on serving, how did that feel?
does it feel repeatable? Is that an adjustment that feels like it's muscle memory? Or is it, like all of a sudden I made you play left-handed? Like some sort of the ball, I teach this way. Like, not with serving, you don't. Everyone serves differently.
What changed from like your early 20s to when you were kind of battling shoulder injuries? What changed about that mechanics and sequencing?
Nothing really did. It just didn't come off as hot. It was muted by 10%. The shoulder issues hurt more on the forehand than they did on the serve, but there were less days. Like during my prime serving, I knew I could hit at 140 anytime I wanted to.
Yeah.
Any day, I'd wake up, I could roll out of bed and hit at 140.
Like cold.
No problem. And also like the kick would jump out. And there were some times with the shoulder where the further I went in an event, the more muted my serve got because there was like shoulder fatigue because of an injury. Mm-hmm. And so by the time I needed it the most, it was a little bit more muted. And like 5 or 10% against, someone 150 in the world, I could manage through that pretty easily. 5 or 10% against the best returners on earth was apparent.
Well, we'll close it out with somebody that won't have shoulder issues ever. It's a video that our buddy Durham, Dr. Durham, sent to us.
Mr. Weeks.
It's a video of some robot tennis players. Sean, can you punch that up? This little robot is literally getting over and hitting forehands.
This is like a robot playing. Is that real?
It's real. It looks tiny.
Take the robot out.
Look at this. Look at it move. All right, so my question off of this though is this technology gets better, at what point will you be able to load in the data of a player you're going to play and get real looks?
Jeez. Well, they have ball machines. They had ball machines like that.
They have ball machines now.
I remember ball machines. Gosh, I'm dating myself now, but like 30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
That you could mess with the spin.
Oh wow.
Like you could mess with the loft and the spin. So yeah, that's insane. But I was also thinking like my mind went straight to when I lived in Austin, Texas, and I was like a really good player. You'd hit with the college guys, or you'd have to like fly someone in. I'm like, as this gets better, do players just buy robots for training?
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
you just be able to load whatever data you want.
That's a worthwhile. But by the way, that guy playing the robot was being a little bitch. Like that robot, that was like the easiest. Like that robot didn't have much game. I'm sure they will in the future.
Yeah.
But no offense to robots, AI. I don't know. This guy said something about your bitch at one time.
Yeah.
Like I just no offense to robots.
Maybe they would link them up with ServiceNow.
Yeah, there you go. But I'll tell you, like, I don't know. So sometimes, since I'm like, there's a very distinct gap sometimes because I'm not on social media. I don't look at it. I've been off of it for a while. That like something will happen, and I'll just be like randomly out and about, like at Starbucks. So I heard twice last week. People be like, "Oh man, robots playing tennis," and I'm like,
"You're like, what?"
That scene in Dumb and Dumber where he's leaving the convenience store and he goes, "Well, big gulps, huh?"
Yep.
Well, see you later. Like I had no idea what they're talking about, but it's like a regular occurrence that I just attribute to not being on anything. And then I get a video like this. I'm like, oh, that's what they were talking about with the robot tennis.
That's what they were talking about.
Full circle moment.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. That's all we got this week. Thank you to everybody for sending in what they had. They sent it into Ask Andy at servedpodcast.com.
Try again. You can do it.
All right, everybody, that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for sending everything in. Reminder, send it in to AskAndy at servedpodcast.com or go to servedpodcast.com and you can find a link there. Send us your videos. That's what we want.
Look at this host. Yeah. We'll see you next week.
Try it again.